The queen bee. She is by far the most important bee in the hive. She has only one job to do, and that is to lay eggs. And to say that she excels at her job is an understatement. A queen bee can lay up to 1,500 eggs a day. This is her laying an egg now. She'll stick her abdomen down into the cell, lay an egg at the bottom, and then she'll move on to the next cell. As you can see, all the other bees are attending to her. They're very adamant and surrounding her there. What they do is they take care of her every need. The queen bee doesn't even eat on her own. The other bees will feed her, clean her, remove her waste. Everything that she needs, they'll take care of. They will attend to her. So the first thing that she'll do is stick her head down in and examine the hole. She's making sure that there's not another egg, that it's properly cleaned, and that it's ready to accept a larva. Then she'll stick her abdomen down in there and get herself positioned just right, stretch out, find the proper positioning, and then she'll lay her egg. These are newly laid eggs, and it takes about 3 days for the eggs to hatch. Then they become larvae. About 16 days later, they'll grow into adult bees, and they'll hatch out of their little cocoons. The queen can store semen inside her abdomen and use it as necessary to fertilize eggs. When an egg is fertilized, it makes a female worker. This is female worker brood, and as you can see, the queen is laying very well. When a queen doesn't fertilize the egg, it makes a male bee, and male's only job is to mate with the queen. Other than that, they do nothing in the hive. A queen has a smooth stinger and can sting multiple times, whereas a worker bee or a female can only sting once because of the barb. Now, what's with all the collars on their backs, you say? Well, that's a paint dot, and we beekeepers put a little dot of paint on their thorax so that we can easily spot the queen. It's important when you're doing an inspection in your hive to make sure that your queen is good and healthy, and that helps us locate her easier. Now, this is a little candy plug. This is whenever you buy a queen brand new, it comes in a box like this, and the bees can eat at that candy and get in there and release the queen, giving them time to get used to her. Now, this is the method we use to mark our queen. There's other ways to do it, but this is what I do. Got this little device here, and you just kind of gather up the queen in it, and it's got a little foam plunger, and you just kind of work the queen up into the top. As you can see, it's hard to tell the queen from the other bees, and that's really what the paint dot is all about. Now, the bees can smell her pheromone, and so they're all over the little cage here, but we're going to single her out. And the foam part of the plunger just kind of gives her some cushioning and make sure that you don't squish her or harm her in any way. And the goal here is to push her up against the top to the point where you just hold her in place, but not so hard that you're hurting her. And you can kind of release pressure until you get her to where she's centered in one of these holes, and makes it easier to get the paint in the proper location. Then you take a little paint pen and you just dab the paint right on her back. Now, you wouldn't want to use a marker or something like that because that could hurt her, but acrylic paint's non-toxic and it won't hurt her. Here you can see she's marked. We'll give it a little time to dry, and then it's time to introduce her back into the hive. And as you can see, they welcome her back with open wings. Now, when the bees grow too large inside their hive, they'll swarm, and half of the hive will leave with the old queen, and the bees left in the hive will make a new queen. Now, if you find the swarm and you can locate the queen, then you can capture the queen and transfer them into a new hive. And that's how bees basically populate, like repopulate. And there she is. So the rest of the bees can sense the queen's pheromone. And though the queen bee doesn't necessarily lead the charge in a swarm, if you capture her and put her in a location, all the bees will come to her. So if you have another box, you can just put her in a queen cage, stick her down in there, and they'll sense her pheromone and stay in there. Now there's times whenever the queen has problems and isn't healthy, and they'll requeen the hive at that point. This here's a bunch of drone brood, and it basically shows that the queen has either ran out of semen or they have a laying worker. Now this next clip is from a channel called White House on a Hill, and this gentleman is having a problem with his queen being too aggressive.
And I can feel them just tapping me. I've got them stingers in the glove. I feel like if I didn't have a suit on right now, I would be dead. It's that intense. It's a little nerve-wracking just to hear the buzzing and feel like they might be in the suit, even though I don't think they are yet. But I'm about halfway through the frames.
Now what he has here is called a hot hive, and they can be dangerous. One way to fix it is to execute the queen and replace her with a new queen. And that's what he does here. He squishes the queen and then proceeds to try to add a new queen. And you can see when he squished her, the pheromone is on his fingers, so the bees start to really ramp up here. And 3 bees get inside of his suit. And watch what happens.
How's it get in?
And where? In yours?
I got a couple bees inside here.
You have them all over your head.
I got my lip.
Can you throw it off real quick? Or?
Now what he's about to do here is pull his hood off to get these 3 bees out. And this is just due to inexperience. You should never do this. There's 1,000 bees trying to sting you.
Can we get a smoker?
So the whole point of showing you that is to show you how pheromones work and how the bees can sense that the queen has been killed. Now once the queen has died or left the hive, they'll create a new queen. And these things that you see here are called queen cups. They'll create these in anticipation of making a queen cell. And they'll stick an egg in here and feed it special jelly called royal jelly. Once the larva gets to a certain size, if you look in there, you can see a little white larva. Right here, I've pried one open. You see a little tiny larva in there. And this one here, I've pried open, and there's a pretty good size larva. Once it gets to a certain size, though, they'll cap this cell off and continue to incubate a brand new queen. Now, they'll make several different cells, and a lot of them will hatch at the same time. And then you'll have a fight. The different bees, queen bees, will get together and fight each other to the death because there can be only one. And this right here is what you call royal jelly. It's a white substance, and that's what they feed a queen bee to turn them into a queen bee. Now this right here is what a capped queen cell looks like. And this right here is a queen bee hatching out of a queen cell. Now there'll be multiple queen cells hatching at the same time, and all the queens will fight to the death because there can be only one. And they put off this sound. That sound is called piping, and it's what newly hatched queens will do to locate each other in a hive so they can fight. But then it's time for the newly hatched queen to go out on her maiden flight, and they will mate in the air, and the male bee will actually die from this. They don't survive it. A male honeybee's genitals will literally explode, causing them to die. Now, the queen bee can mate with multiple male bees, and she can hold up to 6 million sperm inside her abdomen. And then she returns back to the hive.
All right, guys, that's all about queen bees. There's so much to it. I'm sure I missed something. I mean, you can get into raising queens. It's just endless, the amount of equipment and different specialty items. And but that's the basics of how a queen works, how they are born, how they live their lives, and eventually how they expire, and how you change queens out occasionally. So if you like this kind of stuff, give me a like, and stick around because I've got a lot more planned. I've got a garden video coming up. I've got a cotton candy video coming up. I have a small business where I go to fairs and festivals and sell cotton candy and snow cones, and do a couple events a year. So I'm going to get into that and how I got started. So stick around, hit the subscribe button. There might be something here that you'll enjoy. All right, guys, if you stayed to this point, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.